Idaho was more of a pit stop for me than an actual stay to get a sense of the place. But I did travel through the lower part of the state at the beginning of my journey to pick up my camper, and then the panhandle of the north as I headed back west after my sojourn through the east. I stopped in a tiny town in the narrow stretch between the Montana border and the Washington border. It was a beautiful area, and the people who worked at the campsite and surrounding area were just lovely. The campground had a restaurant attached where I got the best brisket I'd found since leaving the South. They were friendly and engaging. They seemed genuinely interested in the visitors who came through. Actually, I found that to be true in the southern part of the state as well. My mother spent a good portion of her teenage years in Lewiston, so I was especially curious to see if it measured up to what I had heard about it. I wasn't disappointed. Steinbeck also drove, as he puts it, across the upraised thumb of Idaho and through real mountains that climbed straight up, tufted with pines and deep, dusted snow. He wrote, "My radio went dead and I thought it had broken, but it was only that the high ridges cut off the radio waves. The air was softer than it had been on the other side of the Great Divide, and I seemed to remember that reading the warm airs from over the Japanese current penetrate deep inland. I found the same to be true each time I cross over that invisible line, though I'd never heard why it would be true until now. I also think about his loss of communication and marvel a bit at the discomfort that created even then, and how much more pronounced and profound it is for us in this era of being entirely and utterly plugged in at all times. To have disruption in communication availability creates a dis-ease that is so etched in all of our psyches that we do recognize it as disease. I have come to enjoy those moments of solitude to a degree and for a period, but probably only because I know I have my Garmin satellite communicator in case of emergency. I have that sense of security while being disconnected, but I do still find myself looking for signs of a signal after an hour or two. Steinbeck wrote of a friend who had admonished him to look while on his travels for a man with guts. He wanted to know that somewhere out there existed something other than cowardice and expediency. He told Steinbeck, "There used to be a thing or a commodity we put great store by. It was called the people. Find out where the people have gone. I don't mean the square-eyed toothpaste and hair-dyed people, or the new car or bust people, or the success and coronary people. Maybe they never existed. But if there ever were the people, that's the commodity the Declaration was talking about, and Mr. Lincoln. Come to think of it, I've known a few, but not many. Wouldn't it be silly if the Constitution had been talking about a young man whose life centers around a whistle, a wink, and a wild root?" Steinbeck comments, "I remember retorting, maybe the people are always those who used to live the generation before last." One thing I have found to be true on this journey is that everyone has a perspective that is limited by their perception. They form opinions and ideas about what lies beyond their personal experience, and it most often fails to grasp the reality. I have noted that all around the country, people have some fundamental and basic needs that drive everything they think, believe, and do in their daily lives. And they don't seem to realize that the same holds true for their neighbor and for the people in the next state over, or the country across the ocean, or, as Steinbeck observed, the generations that preceded or follow. The people are out there, and they are right here wherever you are. The cowardice and expediency does prevail at times within all of us. It's what prevents us from seeing the people, because we are afraid to step outside of the tiny worlds we use to insulate ourselves, and we are seemingly uninterested in taking the time to see more. The people are out there, and they are in each of us. It's just a matter of pausing to look, listen, and learn.